Namaste Javens, myself Javen Dr. Barkha Khurana. Today we will be talking about physiology of body fluids, which is a part of your human physiology. See, you can see this pie chart where the total body water is given, out of which the blue one, that is 67% is intercellular fluid. This red one, 8% is extracellular fluid, plasma, and this 25% is interstitial fluid, transcellular fluid, and mesenchymal tissue fluid, which are also the part of extracellular fluid. Now this is the chart showing the distribution of total body water. ICF, ECF, 25% plasma, and 75% interstitial fluid, transcellular fluid, mesenchymal tissue. The volume of total body water is 42 liters, ICF 28, ECF 14, plasma 3.5, and 10.5 liters is the ECF, like interstitial fluid and all. If you talk about body percentage, body weight and body water according to percentage, this is also given in this chart. Now the total body water that depends on the body fat. In infants it is 73%, adult male 60%, female 40 to 50%. Then there are effects of obesity also, and in old age it is just 45%. Now there are fluid compartments having extracellular fluid and intracellular fluid. The fluid compartments comprise 60% of the body weight. Extracellular fluid comprises 33% of total body weight, and intracellular comprises 67% of total body weight. This extracellular fluid is again divided into plasma, 25% of ECF, interstitial fluid, 75% of ECF, and transcellular fluid, that is your CSF, intraocular fluid, pleural fluid, peritoneal, and so on. Now, how does the movement takes place? See, as the name suggests, it's a fluid. So they are not static, they are not stable. The fluids and electrolytes shift from one compartment to another, and it is done so to maintain the homeostasis. Next is composition. The fluid contains mainly water. It contains solids also, which are both organic and inorganic. The organic substances are glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, hormones, and enzymes. Here you can see this distribution. Now, what is the role of body fluids or the significance? They help to maintain the internal environment of the body, that is homeostasis, and all the organic and inorganic substances present like glucose, amino acid, vitamins, ions, they help in the growth and functions of the cell. They also help in transport mechanism like transport of nutrients and other essential substances. And the nutrients enter the cell and the waste come out of the cells. These tissue fluids or the body fluids also help in metabolic reactions. Like water inside the cells form the medium for various metabolic reactions which are necessary for growth and functional activities of the cells. The water helps in maintaining the characteristic form and texture of various tissues. The body water helps in maintaining the normal body temperature. Now, how this mechanism is regulated. The hypothalamus regulates the thirst mechanism. Kidneys, hormones like renin, angiotensin, antidiuretic hormones, they maintain or regulate. Now, how can we measure the body fluid? They are relatively easy to measure. There is no effect on distribution of water, and any change should be known. It is measured, the total body weight is measured, total body water is measured by injecting marker, which evenly distributes in all the compartments of the body. And the markers used, or the dye uses the deuterium oxide, tritium oxide, aminopyrine. How to measure ECF volume? The marker should not enter the cell but freely pass through the capillary membrane. The radioactive substances like NaCl, bromide sulfate, thiosulfate are used, and non-metabolizable are saccharides, inulin, mannitol, sucrose. How to measure plasma volume? The marker should bind strongly with plasma proteins and should not diffuse with interstitium. They can be Evans blue dye, radioactive isotopes of chromium. How to measure intercellular fluid? That is calculated by the difference between total body weight and extracellular fluid. Here you can see the chart. The interstitial fluid volume is measured by subtracting the ECF and plasma volume. How the water balance is maintained? Now, water balance can be maintained at normal levels when the intake and output of the water are balanced. When the intake is more than the output, then a positive water balance develops. Then physiological water balance is required for growth, convulsions, and pregnancy. Pathological positive water balance, like if there is excess of water in the body, may lead to edema. Abnormal accumulation of water in normally existing space in the body is called edema. And this edema occurs in case of heart failure, renal failure, malnutrition, or inflammation of tissue. Now, what is negative water balance? That means when there is depletion of water in the body. It occurs in exercise or working in hot sun, and this is physiological negative water balance. Pathological negative water balance means when there is depletion of water content due to some other associated disease or disorder like dehydration, burns, hemorrhage, vomiting, diarrhea. Dehydration is the decline in body water level. It can be a simple water loss or it can be the loss of water as well as the electrolytes. And this can be seen in severe vomiting, excessive sweating, fluid loss in burns, diabetes, renal diseases. The clinical symptoms that are associated with dehydration are low cardiac output, rapid pulse rate, low BP, acidosis, sunken eyeballs, lethargy, confusion, coma. Sometimes it may lead to death also. Then there are exchangeable ions. All body potassium ions are exchangeable. 65 to 70% of sodium ions are exchangeable. Calcium and magnesium are non-exchangeable. Now we'll talk about the functions of electrolytes. Main solutes for acid-base maintenance balance. They maintain proper osmolality and volume of body fluids. They maintain the concentration of certain determine their physiological functions. So this is all in this session. I hope you understood this session. If you have any doubts, you can post a comment. And this session is powered by Digital 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women University. Thank you.